One of the most respected football coaches in America, a defensive genius at Penn State, used his own youth charity as a personal predator playground. And the most sickening part? The university knew. For years, the highest ranking officials at Penn State knew about the monster in their locker room, and they chose to protect their reputation instead of protecting children. This is the story of how a football-obsessed town, a legendary coach, and a powerful university looked the other way for over a decade, allowing a predator to destroy countless young lives. Jerry Sandusky spent 3 decades at Penn State, building a reputation as the mastermind of the linebacker U defense. He was practically the right-hand man to the legendary Joe Paterno, and in 1977 he founded the Second Mile, a charity for troubled kids. A noble cause on the surface, right? Except every single boy who later testified against him came straight from that charity pipeline. Sandusky played the classic Predator playbook: identify vulnerable boys, shower them with attention, gifts, tickets to big games, and golf outings. He made them feel special. One victim even admitted through tears that he loved Sandusky like a father. That's how skilled he was at grooming. Not skilled as in admirable, skilled as in manipulative, terrifying, and sinister. This is where the story goes from disgusting to unbelievable. In 1998, a mother complained that Sandusky was wrestling naked with her 11-year-old son after a shower. Penn State Vice President Gary Schultz got word the police were investigating, and what did Schultz do? He literally wrote in his notes, "Worst sexual improprieties, and is this opening Pandora's box?" and then locked it in his desk. Like, well, that's solved. Drawer closed, monster contained. Spoiler, he wasn't. Then came 2001, the infamous locker room incident. A graduate assistant, Mike McQuarrie, walks into the showers and sees Sandusky skin on skin with a boy about 10 years old. McQuarrie is horrified, tells Coach Paterno, and the word trickles up to the athletic director. So, do they call the police? No. They huddle up and decide to just ask Sandusky to seek professional help while letting him keep roaming the campus. Imagine catching a coworker committing a felony and the boss just says, maybe send him to therapy. That single, cowardly non-decision gave Sandusky 10 more years of access to kids. 10. Fast forward to 2011, a grand jury investigation blows the lid off the entire conspiracy of silence. Local papers splash the story, and suddenly the nation's jaw is on the floor. In November, Sandusky is arrested on over 40 counts, a number that would eventually grow to 52. Penn State's empire crumbles overnight. University president Graham Spanier, out. Athletic director Tim Curley, MVP Schultz, out. And Joe Paterno, the saint of Penn State, the man with over 400 wins, is fired by the Board of Trustees. Students riot in the streets, torn between defending their hero and screaming betrayal. His statue is hauled off campus like disgraced royalty. In June 2012, the courtroom is packed. 8 victims bravely testify about everything from fondling to full-blown assault. McQuarrie relives what he saw in that shower back in 2001. The jury doesn't hesitate. Guilty in 45 of 48 counts. Sandusky, 68 years old, is sentenced to 30 to 60 years in prison. Do the math, that's a life sentence. Prosecutors said he used his charity as a hunting ground. The judge called him a dangerous man who betrayed children and abused their trust. Game over. But the punishment didn't stop there. The NCAA nuked Penn State football. A $60 million fine, a 4-year bowl ban, slashed scholarships, and an entire decade of wins erased from the record books. The university eventually paid out over $100 million in settlements to the victims. Alumni were heartbroken, fans were embarrassed, and every comedian in America had a new punchline about the school that could stop any offense but couldn't stop a predator in its own locker room. So here's where we land. Jerry Sandusky is a disgraced coach and convicted predator living out his final days in a prison cell. Joe Paterno's legendary career is shattered, his legacy forever stained by his silence. And Penn State is left with lost wins, a lost reputation, and years of shame. The big moral of the story? If you see a giant red flag, you don't fold it up and hide it in a desk drawer. You don't whisper about getting help. You don't pretend it will all just go away. Because sometimes, the man calling himself a mentor is running a whole different playbook. And the cost of silence is a scoreboard full of ruined lives. So tell me, do you think Penn State deserved those brutal sanctions, or were they too harsh for the players and fans who had nothing to do with Sandusky's crimes? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this scandal wasn't just football history. It was a wake-up call for every institution that thinks its reputation is more important than justice.